Show with Irish Show with Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! In a call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish! No Irish! No Irish! No Irish! Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, the voice is struggling again. Hot, cold. Woo, the chat's off to the races this morning, folks. Wow. You never know what you're going to get. You never know. You just never know what way it's going to go. And on a day where a lot of people are probably half asleep, still wishing they had that extra hour, we got people that are ramped up. And that's the other thing. Saturday night, family stuff popped up. Nothing I could do. Sorry. It's the off season. I can't guarantee my reliability the same way. So yeah, a couple different family things popped up, just wasn't possible. And I do apologize for that. I want to get back into it on a regular, like where we could count on it every Friday or Saturday night in the off season. We did good with that in the summer, where it was pretty reliable with me and Pat. We'll get back into that shortly. Let me get a couple of these chats. We got some good discussions going. So I have a general topic I wanted to go over, and then I want to go over some of these chats that it just takes a life of its own. So sometimes it's really interesting to do. Look at that. We got everybody in here. Brian, Mikey Poles, everybody's in here. Taj, Josh Miller, Tommy Boy. Tommy, I hope you're in a good place, out of the place you've been in for a long time. All right, let's get into this. Here's the deal. We'll put this out right away. I realize it's a sleepy Monday. Everybody lost that hour and they're extra grouchy. 312-988-15. What do you want to see and hear coming out of Notre Dame's practices in the next phase of what this camp's going to be? Okay, that's where I want to kind of focus. And I have some bullet points we'll get to, but that's kind of what's on my mind. What I mean by this is, what do you want to hear that's going to make you feel a lot better coming up in camp? Like the reports, the narratives, the film you see, whatever it is. What are you hoping comes next out of that next batch of whatever this is going to be that's going to make you feel better? Tex ND, there's your shout out. I just looked at the ones that were like on the screen and it was a whole bunch of people in a row. And if I scroll back up, then I lose the ones that come after it. Nothing's easy. I'm not trying to leave anybody out. Crazy boy. It's good to have a crazy boy in this show. As if I'm not crazy enough, right? Oh, V1. Look at this. It's a $5 hour from the Rotate. I can always count on you, Rotate. Thank you, sir. Pine can't make it at ND, was the backup at basically a group of 5 school and wants to go play in the SEC. Okay, asked Tyler how that went. Isn't it just kind of known it's for the backup role? Like, isn't that my understanding, is that that's understood and it's better than like not playing, I guess, if you really love football? I mean, whatever. Steven, Leonard getting a better grasp of the passing game. Yeah, that better come. All right, let's get through the introduction. You guys are funny, man. You guys are going at it. Cheap Brody, the Cheap is here. Always find the show on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Get a video thumbs up. That ups Johnny Boy as well. Notifications on, you know why. That way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. The call-in lines. 312-988-15. Dial it up. Tell Johnny all you've heard and seen, unless you're still asleep because you lost that hour and it's killing you already. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Irish Wire. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former captain, leading tackler Mike Goolsby, and myself breaking it all down. Thanks to everybody who's been there. Appreciate it. And you all know, go over to ndsubwayalumni.com. Still probably time to be able to get a shot ski and bring it to the blue and gold tailgate that you're all invited to. Get a t-shirt, get a Lewski, take a shot ski out of a Lewski, and go support these guys. Really good Notre Dame people. And you all know I talk about what the Subway Alumni Group has meant to the history of Notre Dame. Okay, so that's the deal there. What else do we have in the chats? Oh boy, we got a lot of stuff I'm going to have to go over here and give my take on. All right, so for now, we're going to put aside my little notes of what I'm looking at, the bullet points of what's coming next in spring, what I want to hear next out of spring, whatever I want the reports to be. We're going to hold off on that for a little bit and go through some of these chats because there's a lot to go back and forth on. It's just funny how before I even log in here, the chat just kind of takes a life of its own, and there it goes. Oh man. Daughter was just at a party on campus with Pine last weekend. Where? Down in Missouri, wherever he's going to Missouri, right? Man. Ooh, good luck. I mean that. I wish him the best. Oh, man. Look at this. Out of nowhere. Out of the thin blue sky. Donnie White with the $100 holler. Now, Donnie White, we got a history here. Donnie White was at the $100 holler, man. Donnie, you're the man. You are the man. So here's where I met Donnie. Was at the NIL event, at the Hartman event in, what was that, Crown Point, wherever. And he was one of the people there for the event and like waiting in line. John, John, I love you, yelling. And then we talked, and then he talked to my family and everybody. And then Donnie always queued up without fail. I think it's a $50 holler every time we did a post-game call-in show. Donnie's 50 was just sitting there waiting to fuel the phone line so everybody could get their Notre Dame stuff out. I mean it when I say every single week. Every single week he would drop that just to keep the phones going so we could all do this, and he wanted to help out. And it means the world to me, Donnie. You're the man. I hope you can make it to the blue and gold tailgate. Would love to see you again. Thank you. It means the world to me. Keeps the phone lines going. All right. I got to get into some of these chats, and then we'll get into my main topic. Okay. Sly Fox, good morning. 40 days till we get to watch our beloved Irish in the spring game. Gosh, long time still, doesn't it? 40 days, it just does. Fired up for Denbrock's 11 personnel. Play calling in general has to be better than last year for sure. Here's the way I look at this. I don't know how much better this offense is going to be. I don't. I also am open to the idea. Is there a scenario where Notre Dame could score less points overall on average and you'll feel better about this offense? Are you following me? I know that sounds messed up. Is there a scenario where Notre Dame scores less points on average, less than the 39.5 or whatever they had last year, less points on average throughout this season, but you feel better about the offense than you did last year. I could totally see a scenario where that happens. Here's how. You could score less points overall on average, but spread the points out you do score to where against the good teams, you're scoring a few points. And it's not 80 points against Navy and diddly poo against anybody with a pulse. Am I crazy for saying this? You could literally average less points than last year, and I'll say the offense is better if it's equally spread out more, where you can move the ball and score points against everybody on the schedule. Not score 60 points against nobodies and then no points against somebodies. But I mean that. If it was a more reliable output that I could count on every week, you could score a few less points. But if I know I'm going to get a few against good teams, it'll make me feel a lot better. But here's the bigger point. Put that aside. Here's the bigger point. We're not going to enter a game, and I'm wondering if the offensive coordinator's way in over his head on how he's going to set anything up to get anything accomplished. And if the offense struggles or it sputters or it isn't doing what we want, there will be reasons for that. But one of them won't be the OC isn't seeing what he needs to see to run a high-level plan here. And that's a different sort of struggle. Do you follow me? That's a different sort of struggle. But I feel like at least I'm not going to have to worry, does this guy even have a grasp of what this is supposed to look like? Which was what I had to ask last year. So I'm not saying the offense is going to be great or elite or whatever, but I know the reason it isn't going to be is because that guy's drowning and has no idea how to put a plan together. That ain't going to be the reason. If this offense sputters or doesn't do what we want, that's not going to be why this time. And that makes me feel confident. It's just one less thing I got to worry about. I still got to worry about the offense being good enough, but I just feel like that reason isn't going to be in my head if it isn't. It's one less thing I'm going to have to go, is that a part of all this? Why it doesn't look as good as I need it to look? Oh, boy. Stephen Arado, Morning Irish Nation. Charlie Murphy. Darkness is spreading, everybody. Darkness. That whole Chappelle thing, that Chappelle show thing, if it hits you at a certain time in your life, that is one of those cultural things that's never left me. The one-liners off the Chappelle show, when I was in college, they were dropping brand new. I still use those quotes daily. Like, it's just one of those cultural things, if you grew up my age, where every week he was dropping something that you would walk around campus and everybody was saying. You would go to a party and everybody was saying the one-liners, and I still do it today. Like, it was just one of those cultural things where the one-liners off that show never leave your brain. They're just wired in my brain. Most of them I can't say here, but they're wired in my brain. Oh, man, the Charlie Murphy and the couch, why don't I stretch out? I just can't. It's hilarious. Oh, my God. Never grow up, Johnny. Rudy, I don't think you got to worry about that. I don't think you have to worry about that. Down pat. Rather have an offense that scores all over everyone. It's solid defense, not elite, that could get enough stops to let the offense win games. Elite offense, we beat Ohio State by 14 points. Well, that's the issue, though. Defense travels easier than offense. Like, I don't know why, whatever, but you hear that term, good defense travels. Like, if you have a good defense in college football, you usually play pretty good defense every game. There just seems to be more variance in a lot of these offenses where if you have a solid defense, you're pretty confident. Like, Sometimes it just feels like the offense shows up and they just can't do anything in a big game. Even in the big games, you feel like Notre Dame's defense can hang with them. Like they're going to give you a chance. Like I never feel that about the offense. I never feel that about the offense. Oh man. Here's the thing. Imagine this. This is going to blow your mind. Imagine this. Does anybody ever think about what it would be like if Notre Dame had a well-rounded team that could actually hurt you on both sides of the ball? Like, are you following me? Look at what Notre Dame has accomplished overall. Yep, it didn't reach their main goals. We'll get to Kelly. He's coming up in the early morning chat too. We'll get to Kelly. Look at all the games Notre Dame's won and how close Notre Dame kind of sort of was to doing anything good. And they pretty much did it all with one half of the ball. None of these were good at, like, towards the end of the Kelly or like whatever, anything we accomplished, making the playoff and whatever. It's always because you count on the defense. You're like, oh, we have a big. I was talking to somebody about this in the over the weekend. Too many of these big game moments with Notre Dame, it's like, well, we're entering a big game. You know what I need? I know what I need. I need the defense to give up no touchdowns, get 3 pick sixes, 2 short fields. We block a punt, and then maybe we add in an offensive touchdown and we can win this game. That's what it's been. Imagine a Notre Dame team where both sides of the ball played winning football. Imagine that. What could this turn into if you have that good defense we're all used to and you have an offense that could actually move the ball, eat up clock, stretch you through the air, stretch you through the ground, have a plan that keeps you off balance as a defense? Imagine that. I'm just telling you, it's something we haven't had in a very long time, that kind of balance. And I don't, it's wild to think about. A lot of Notre Dame's, whatever level of success Notre Dame's had, it isn't enough by any of our standard, but whatever level of success they've had either with Freeman or like through Kelly, it's been defense driven. Why am I asking for too much to have both sides of the ball that can contribute to a winning effort in a big ball game? Ohio State, 14 points one year, 10 the year before. You're not winning anything. You're not winning big games in college football scoring 14 and 10 points. Okay? Those are perfect examples. You played good games and it was close and whatever, but you scored 14 points and 10 points in your biggest game of the year. That ain't good enough. You can't, I don't care if you have the Bears defense from 85 out there before Mongo got sick. It doesn't matter. If you got to score some points. 14 and 10 in your biggest game to change all your program narratives, and you score 14 points and 10 points back-to-back years. That's not good enough. I'm sick of the defense having to drive all the success of this program. Mikey Denbrock, give me an offensive unlock. And let's see it come out, baby. Let's see it come out. I'm ready for that. Give me a well-rounded Notre Dame team, and you might actually be nationally dangerous. If you could bring that defense, a top 10, I needed to get 5, 6, 7 this year. Bring that defense every day, and then have a well-rounded, balanced offense that can attack you through the air and the ground, and you can't sell out, stop one, you get burned by the other. Why can't I have that? Do I ask for too much? Do I ask? I'm serious. Do I ask for too much? Why does it feel like I'm stuck here in Notre Dame land where you're not allowed to have a full representative team? We have accomplished a lot of great things with one half of the team being nowhere good enough. Nowhere good enough. Not even on the radar of good enough with that offense. Anyways, I just hope Denbrock could get more out of Leonard than he did at Duke. Couple things. One is he should have more to work with at Notre Dame. The line should be better no matter what they look like early in the year. I think that line should be better. I don't think Duke has some of the athletes we have to work with at that offense to get the ball to. And I also think maybe this is the biggest part of it. Maybe the biggest part of it is his legs. Maybe I'm underestimating what that could be like. I'm very curious to see about that passing game and how because I don't know the receiver situation yet. Like there's no world where I'm like buying in that the receiver situation's fixed and I have no worries there. No. I don't care how many videos come out of spring ball. I don't care how many beat writers write an article. No. I'm not believing that wide receiver thing's fixed till I see him make big time winning plays in big games. That's it. And I think that's fair. But what I'm saying is Denbrock being able to set up an offense where the quarterback running is like a big part of it, that's another thing that can keep a defense honest. And it's a thing we haven't really had to this extent. And it will open things up. But that was not a big part of Hartman's thing last year. And then that was another. Hartman's not a real threat with his legs, like intentionally. And you knew Notre Dame had no passing game other than the tight ends. How easy was Notre Dame to defend last year if you're a real team? Not Navy, not Central, not Wake, who was asleep. Real teams. Think about it. Hartman wasn't great running on his own. Like you weren't going to design a bunch of that up. And he couldn't throw the ball. You couldn't really have a passing game either that worked. How easy was Notre Dame to defend? And then the teams that see it that way are the ones that have the dudes capable of playing good defense against Notre Dame. And it's like the quarterback can't run and their passing game's a mess. We're just going to cram the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame's screwed. And that's exactly what happened. I'm just saying, imagine the possibilities for a Notre Dame team that could do both. Play good defense, play good offense. I am sick of every big game against the best teams we play. Our offense sucks. It's not been good enough. That needs to end. A lot of those games, if you remember, Adam, what's going on? A lot of those games, if you remember, even against the really good teams, our defense tries to hang. Like they're not elite. They're not making like strip sacks and everything, literally changing the game against Alabama in the playoff, whatever. They're not doing that. But I'm just saying that defense, even in the games we ended up losing, like a Georgia game, an Ohio State series, the defense did their part to keep Notre Dame in those big games. The offense just couldn't do their part. Think about that. A lot of those games, the defense hung in there. But eventually, when the offense goes 3 and out 64 times in a row, the defense is going to get worn out. I'm just saying, wrap your brains around a well-balanced Notre Dame team that could bring both to the table any given week. Any given week. I need it. I need it. What is this? Oh, boy. All right. I got to go through some more of these comments because I didn't even get to the juicy stuff yet. Commander Luke, we're on name change number 48. After the season flops again, will it be more disappointing than, say, under Kelly or Charlie, or is it the same level of disappointment and makes no difference? It's a very loaded question. Number one, After the season flops, I'm not very encouraged by your excitement level if you're already planning on it flopping. So that's depressing. We're talking about spring and all like what we hope it'll be. Maybe we have an offense that can do their part. And here Commander is counting the season over already. After the season flops, will it be more disappointing than under Kelly or Charlie? Here's the other thing, though. There's two things I want to point out with this. I understand the critique. Number one is, do you honestly not look or gauge coaches differently if they've been doing it for 40 years instead of 2 or 3? Or 30 years instead of 2 or 3? Like, are those all the same to you? What you expect of those coaches? Do you expect the same out of a 2-year coach than a 40-year coach as far as like what they're doing? That's interesting to me if you do, that there's no ramp up period at all. And you're holding a guy on year 2 or 3 to the same as a guy who's done it 40 years, seen it all, done it all. And that's one of his biggest feathers in his cap. Also, so that's one part of it is the decades of experience Kelly and Charlie had. Even Charlie, it wasn't even like head coaching, but like at the highest level you could possibly be in football under Belichick, all that. So that's one thing I ask is all of those guys' experience at a high level that Freeman didn't really have if you gauge those the same. And then the other thing is you could have a disappointing season under Freeman this year, but I could still see things building to be different. And I understand no one wants to hear that, and that's very complicated to wrap your brain around. Follow me. What's disappointing? Missing the playoff or 10-2, but you're in the playoff and lose? I don't know, whatever that is. But that's a part of this too, is what I see building and how it's building. Charlie building the wrong way, crumbling. Kelly, fine, but static. Like Kelly, we're not going like 6-6 under Kelly. You were winning most of your games, but there was a cap where there was no hope. Towards the end of Kelly, there was zero hope of getting any higher level results. I give it up. 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. Nothing was changing. You just hit a wall. Even if Freeman has like some stupid weird year or whatever this year, I'm not going to say that I feel that same way. Things are not static in the program. Recruiting is not static. I just see things different. The staff is much better than those staffs. I trust it more. There's a lot of things here that aren't on level with that. So is there a world where you could have a year you're not thrilled with, but I could still see that things are trending up overall? I know that's a mental challenge that's hard to wrap your brain around. I'm just asking. Oh boy. If all the doubters have lit a fire under Russell Wilson, the Steelers may get a couple good years of QB play out of him for cheap. Mikey, it sounded like Mikey was not happy with that. Here's my issue with Russell Wilson. Here's where he's kind of a weird dude, but that's fine. Do your thing. He's kind of a weird dude. Here's my problem with Russell Wilson. This is when I heard this and I turned on him and I'll never go back. When he got to Denver, somebody in the media asked Sean Payton, is Russell still allowed to have his setup he had before at his previous spot here? How's that going to go over? And Payton said, what are you talking about to the media? And they were like, well, at his old spot, he didn't even have to dress in the locker room. He had his own private office at the facility with a private locker where he could change and do all that in his private office at the home facility and not be changing and getting ready for the game with his teammates in the locker room. And he just does his own thing. And then he goes down to the field and plays, and he's not in the locker room getting ready and doing all that with his guys. And Sean Payton looked horrified, like he never knew that, and was like, no, that's not how it's going to go here. Bro, I'm out. I'm out. You're the quarterback. You're the leader of the team. And he has his own private suite to change in and locker room where he's not even with any of his teammates. Sickens me. That is not how this is. But that's not good leadership. You're a prima donna. That's not, I don't care what singer, celebrity you're married to. No. That's when I turned on Russell Wilson. Not even want to be bothered with your low-level non-quarterback teammates while you get ready for the game. No. Done. That was the point where I'm like, dude, I'm done with this dude. I couldn't believe that was at the former place to begin with, but that's when I turned on him, and I'll never go back. I can't. Maybe he's shy, John. Yeah, what? He just didn't want to get in the showers with the other guys? Give me a break. I just can't, I can't do that. Let Russ cook. Yeah, bro, cook what? At McDonald's? I don't know what he's got left. And also, where's Justin Fields going to go? That's another question I have, because I think it's obvious to me the Bears are going to try and take Caleb Williams, and it'll be the most interesting social experiment ever for me in the Chicago market, trying to watch the Bears navigate that California personality in this market is going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting. But people are saying Atlanta, and I don't know what you get back or whatever. But that's going to be the interesting thing to see what ends up happening with him. Oh man. Whoa, what did I just hit? I just changed something. All right, let's keep going. Part two, Commander. Part two of my question is, if ND blows the season week 1, is it more disappointing than waiting till, say, week 9 or something? Again, man, there's nuance in all of this stuff, but nuance is not popular to wait around in. People want absolutes one way or the other. It's just like politics. Being in the middle is not a popular place to be. People want you all over here or all over there. If Notre Dame blows the season week 1, Notre Dame could lose to Texas A&M and have a successful season. They could lose to A&M and go 11-1 and make the playoff and win 2 games. And are you going to say that's a failed season? That being said, obviously, if you win week 1, it's a big win. It's off to the races. It sets you up. You're at a different scale next year as long as you're undefeated. I'm not saying beating Texas A&M is like they're the best team ever, but as long as you're undefeated and you're running, you're going to get extra attention. But if ND blows the season, they could lose week 1 and have a great year and host. You could lose week 1 and still host a playoff game in Notre Dame. Now, you could argue if we lose week 1, what are the odds you're going to make it to the? You could argue that's fine. That's fair that if you lose week 1 to a team that isn't going to be elite, Texas A&M's not going to be an elite team. You could argue what are the odds then that they're going to turn it on? Yeah, I agree with that. It would be concerning for sure. It will feel like the end of the world if you lose week 1. And I'm certainly going to come on here and make it feel like I'm certainly going to react like it's a big deal if you lose week 1, but that doesn't mean the season's over. You go 11-1, 10-2. If Notre Dame goes 10-2 and we're frustrated as heck with the 2, but they end up in the playoff and win a game or something, how are you going to call that a failed year? Some of this is how you're looking at that bar of how we're gauging Notre Dame from now on. That's the other thing. Is this turning into a thing where the record is almost not the main point? It's just at the end of it, did you make the playoff, yes or no? Is that where we're at, to where the actual record isn't the thing anymore? It's just, did it get you to the dance? Did it get you to the dance? I don't know. But the way we're looking at all that's going to move. Andrew, I wish I could call in today. I love John. So why do you have to make me defend BK? Quiet quit on ND. His last 4 years at ND, he went 43-3 in the regular season. Andrew, I cannot argue the record. When I say quiet quit, I mean there was a level Kelly got to at Notre Dame. Pretty high level. But after time, after time, after time, he couldn't get higher than that level. Multiple years, multiple iterations of getting up to bumping up against that level. And he couldn't get anything above that bar. That tells me you got to change what you're doing big time. Multiple times he tried just doing it his way, his natural default way, and it was really successful up to a point. And that point is winning anything anybody in Notre Dame cares about. Couldn't get over that bar, but did everything else right up to it. No major bowl wins, no playoff wins, none of those big upsets, beating Georgia, getting a win that changes the narrative, all of that. When I see year on year on year of that being the result where you get up to a certain height and then that's it. It tells me you got to change what you're doing. You got to change what you're doing or you're going to get the exact same result. I didn't see those changes. The way the guy recruited had to be redone. You had to rethink how you were doing all this. That's where that all had to start. And I didn't see that. I did not see that. Still not getting in on top level quarterbacks early enough. Trying to build a relationship 2 years behind other schools, that kind of stuff. So when I say quiet quit, I mean we hit a level that's pretty darn good and I don't need to change things and we'll just hope we get a different result. That's what I mean by quiet quit. Having a huge portfolio of evidence that suggests this is the level, and if we just keep doing it this way, this is going to be the level. How many body of evidence of that being the level do you need before you really overall change what you're doing? And I didn't see that enough. That's my version of quiet quitting. Knowing the way you're doing it isn't good enough, and you're doing it that way anyways again. That's why my hair started falling out. The insanity of not changing the fundamentals, but hoping the result would be different. I mean, I get it, man. 48-3 in the regular season, whatever, fine. But there has to be a bigger payoff at some point when you've been doing it 35 years and all of this and the Camping World Bowl, man, that's the biggest trophy we have. So when I say quiet quit, that's what I mean. He refused to do the hardest work to change the areas that could try and get us more competitive. And it was mostly recruiting for me. Look at this. Commander. I think Free is just as phony and fake as Kelly, but only in a different way. And he doesn't know what he's doing on top of it. So there's that. That would not be ideal. But that is interesting. Just as phony and fake as Kelly, but only in a different way. That's interesting to me. I'm guessing the coachy speak at the podium thing comes off different. Not I kind of get that. Not the condescending way Kelly would speak to you in the media, but a more unassuming, unoffensive way that Freeman does it. I do understand that. And as far as him not knowing what he's doing, you got a lot of people now, coaches and players, that want to be a part of what Freeman has going in Notre Dame. Do you think that Mike Denbrock's an idiot? That's the other way. Do you think a guy like Mike Denbrock, coming off the #1 scoring offense in America and winning a Heisman Trophy, do you think that he would hitch the back end of his career caboose to a guy that he was this guy has no concept of what college football is supposed to be about? That's something else I think about. Fans could say whatever you want to say. Do you think Al Golden and Mike Denbrock, in the twilights of their careers, are going to waste their golden years messing around with Freeman if they thought this guy doesn't know what he's doing and building something? I don't think there's anybody that would say Mike Denbrock's a dummy when it comes to football. I don't think anybody would think that about Al Golden and his top 10 defense either, that took a year to get situated and now he's cooking. I don't think those guys would join in if they thought Freeman was clueless and didn't know what he's doing. Now, again, though, that doesn't mean Freeman's perfect. That doesn't mean Freeman's doing all the right things. It doesn't mean he doesn't need to improve. Oh, man. Andrew, there is no more excuses for Freeman. It's year 3. The Edmund gave him everything he wanted this offseason. The schedule's very winnable. USC is down. What more could Freeman ask for? Sets up great. Sets up great. I mean, it really does. And it's, again, the spacing of this schedule is so much more winnable and navigatable and doable than it was last year. This spacing is comfortable. A&M and then a gap, Louisville at home and then a gap, Florida State at home and then a gap, out at USC. Just like last year, there could be some teams that jump up and surprise you. But just on the surface, I really like the way this one's spaced out. I just think it's much more favorable. And I mean, I get it. No excuses. The Edmund gave him everything he wanted. Do you see that effect right away? That's one question. You got what you wanted. Do you see that? Do you see those positive effects right away? I don't know. I'm not trying to build Freeman cover. I'm just asking, is it that instant you get what you need with some things and you're ready to go? When you ask what else could Freeman ask for, I don't know about you guys, but I don't look at Notre Dame's roster as being complete. Like, I'm not saying we're in the Freeman prime years. This roster's what I envision. Like, we're not there yet. We're building towards it. But this roster's not a finished product by any means. Like, I don't look at it like a year where you're like, okay, we're cooking. Like, as far as the roster, we're not there yet. And that's actually encouraging to me, because I think they could do some good things this year, and that roster still isn't where I want it to be. So if you could do a lot of good, exciting things this year and the roster's still not the ultimate that I want it to be, that's a good place to be. And you're not static. You're not static. That's the feeling that drives people insane. And that's where you got with Kelly. No matter what he said, no matter what was going on, you knew this is the level. And it's going to be just good enough to get you bought in and excited and then let you down in every big moment. Really frustrating. Mikey, I agree, Andrew, but it's about trends. This is kind of what I was getting at, and you put it very well, Mikey. BK was not trending in either direction. Better than trending down, but he wasn't going to win anything significant. I had plenty of time to do it too. Right. Exactly this. And that's the other thing. It's like, dude, in what I understand, we want Freeman to win, and there's big expectations at Notre Dame. But I find it weird how people are comparing like year 2 and 3 of a guy as a head coach to people that have 35 and 40 years of experience. And they're looking at him the exact same. That's just kind of weird to me. And again, there's nuance. I'm not saying save it. Don't type. I'm not just going to say Freeman's due for the next 15 years and build him that excuse. No, there's middle ground. some of your consideration needs to be Kelly has 40 years of experience. He should know what to do more than a guy year 3, right? Otherwise, what's the point of experience? So, no, I'm not going to say, oh, it's only Freeman year 7. Wait till year 8. But when you're in year 2 and 3, comparing him to what a guy with 40 years does equally doesn't make the world of sense to me. I'm not saying don't have standards and it's a free-for-all. That's not what I'm saying. But all the experience a guy doing it 40 years has, I think it's fair to expect some different things to happen or not happen under that than a year 2 or 3 guy, right? Is that not fair? Go coach San Diego State. Fine. ND's not a learn on the job type of place. Well, you got to learn on the job type of coach. That's the issue, Andrew. It ain't a learn on the fly type of place, but you got a coach that's learning on the fly. So you're in between. Even if I agree with you, you have a coach who's doing it. So it isn't the place for that, but that's exactly what's happening. Right? And so how do you marry those? But man, when you look at all of Kelly's experience and all the football games he's been a part of and seen and all that, it's gotta matter at some point. Oh man. John, it's what Freeman doesn't say. His lack of passion when he talks about his football team. It's him giving the QB job to transfers and railroading loyal players. I do admit this. I feel that Freeman is, still feeling his way out with the media. I think he came in hot, way too wide-eyed and honest and open, and they reeled him in. And now I feel, by they, I mean Notre Dame PR. He was way too open when he first started, and the fans love it. But then the more you say, the more people are going to dig, and it could get you in trouble. And then I felt the PR team, Katie Lonergan, reel him in. And I do admit, and he's trying to navigate that. What to say, what not say, how open to be and all that. I still feel him feeling that out. And that's an off the field thing. But it is your head coach at the podium, so it matters, right? That's an off the field thing, kind of how he navigates the media and what you do and how you talk to people and the messaging and all that. So it's an off the field thing, but it does matter. The confidence he instills, the way he talks about things, the different way he does that. I feel like he's a guy still trying to thread the needle of a comfort zone there of how open to be with certain things or not. I feel that from him. So I don't know. Mikey, I worry that John is lowering the bar for Freeman. If we're pissed that BK couldn't win the big one, then we should hold Freeman to the same standard. If he can't go 12-0 or at least 11-1. The issue with this is, if we're pissed BK couldn't win the big one, we should hold Freeman to the same standard. The issue is, we were pissed that Kelly couldn't win the big one for a dozen years in a row, not 2. That's a huge part of the Kelly complaint, is the amount of rope he had to get this done. My frustration with Brian Kelly not winning the big one was a lot more the final year of him being here, not being able to beat Cincinnati at home, than it was year 2 or 3 not winning a big one. All of that time matters in this discussion. It's not equal. All of that time is not equal. If we're mad BK couldn't win the big one, we should hold Freeman to the same standard. But I was a lot more mad at Kelly not winning the big one when he had 10 or 11 years to figure out how to win the big one. Not 2. And again, I don't like being put in this position because now it's just Johnny Boy carrying water for his homeboy Freeman, his wannabe boyfriend Freeman. That's what this is turning into. And I don't want to make it that. I want to hold Freeman to high standard too. But it's just not the same when a guy fails to get over the hump year after year. It's year 3. It's year 4. It's year 5. It's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All of that is not equal. It builds. It builds. That's why I had no more energy for Freeman at the end. I had seen the movie 100 times and it always ended the same. Over a decade of our lives lost to the Camping World Bowl trophy being the Mecca. It's just not the same. The longer you work at one place, the better you should be at getting results at that one place. Not flatline like my heartbeat after the OSU game, flatline. So if we're pissed BK couldn't win the big one, then we should hold Freeman to the same standard. I will. If he can't win any big ones by year 12, we're going to have an issue, Marcus. But I look at that different than year 1, 2, 3 than a guy that's been a head coach 40 and he's over a decade at Notre Dame. These are not the same thing. It's just not the same thing after a dozen years. You can have high expectations of Freeman. You can say that what we've had doesn't reach the standard or whatever. You can do all that, and that's fine. I'm with you. But for me to get as mad at Freeman for not accomplishing things Kelly did, I also need 10 plus years of failure to make that make sense. They're not the same thing. Mikey, if Freeman goes 9-3 this year, that's inexcusable, and his ass should be on the hot seat. If he goes 10-2 in a playoff berth, that's still trending up, but I understand we all want 16-0. 9-3 is a nightmare. 9-3 is a disaster. 10-2, I'm not even interested in. Mikey, 9-3 is an absolute disaster. Cannot be. I don't even want 10-2. So, whatever. By the way, I'm not bashing Freeman. I'm just holding him to the same standards people had for BK. But that's illogical. The standards people held for BK coach for 40 years. That's where I'm having a disconnect. The standard for a guy who's been a head coach for 40 years is different than the standard for a guy just starting out. It's real football-y to say this is Notre Dame, win no matter what. It doesn't matter whether you have experience or not, but you can say that all you want to be a tough football-talking guy, but you know deep down experience matters in any job. Coaching, being an accountant, whatever. So I am just holding him to the standards people had for BK. All right, when he's on year 12, let's take a look at it. When he's at year 12 and has no trophies around, then we'll look at it and go, yeah, he's not doing a good enough job. You can't hold him to the same standard you held BK to because Freeman doesn't have 40 years of experience to lean on that should make him get better results. They're just not the same. Experience is experience. And with that comes expectations of performance. Inexperience is inexperience for a reason. Freeman's got to get a lot better. This is not about me protecting Freeman. He's got to get a lot better. The 10-man stuff can't happen. All of that. He's got to get a lot better. But it's an apple and an orange. Kelly and Freeman. I can't. Give me 10 years of Freeman and then I'll start looking at it like I did Kelly. How many years did Kelly have of a body of work to see the way I'm doing this is never going to work? I got to change. And he never did it. He never did it. Too much work. Too many miles on that jet like he had to fly it himself. Daylight savings time. I'm having an aneurysm at freaking 9:55 a.m. Jason Smith. I don't understand. Some folks don't seem to think Freeman's building something that hasn't been an ND in a long time and compare him to BK in the last 6 years of his time. And that's another part of this. I kind of alluded to this earlier. There are things I'm frustrated with Freeman about, or that you want to be further ahead in this development or whatever. But the way this operation's being built isn't static. It's moving forward, and that is different. And even if you ended up in a situation where we don't get the exact results we want this year, when I look at the foundational level of it, being static isn't the issue. Like, there's progress, there's positive change going on in this program as it's being built this time. That didn't exist before. Everything was static. And you knew it wasn't good enough, and it stayed. You needed big picture recruiting, overall changes, and it was never happening. Andrew, that's why I say quiet quit. Knowing what you're doing isn't good enough and doubling down and doing it anyways. The hell with it. I'm doing it anyways. I know it isn't going to work, but I'm doing it anyways. $385. I'm coming to you. And again, that's the other thing. Does anybody remember Brian Kelly losing to Tulsa early on in his Notre Dame career? And then he got in the media room and said, get used to it. That was a long time ago. But if we want to be mad about Freeman and his dumb losses and all that, Kelly did that with 30 years of experience as head coach, and he lost to Tulsa. Not 0 years, 1 year, 2 years, 30 years. And he lost to Tulsa and told you to get used to it. BVG, you could be happy go to the Tony the Tiger Bowl. I will stick to Final Fours. Well, you ain't getting any. I swear to God, Brian Kelly is a plant. They planted that dude in my life to ruin my life. He did everything possible to ruin your life. He gaslit you. He told you things to get your mind one way and do it the other. He had you thinking 10 and 11 would just give up on Notre the way he talked. In those press conferences, you know, the after the Alabama playoff game loss, one of the Alabama writers interviewed Kelly at the podium and said, good job on a good year, coach. You know, you came short today, but came up short today, but good job on a good year. Kelly, well, I'm not hearing that from the Notre Dame media. All I hear about from the Notre Dame media is why we're not good enough and why we can't get to the next level. It's really nice of somebody to mention what a good year I had, because none of our people are going to do it. They're all going to ask why we don't win the big game. So it's really nice to have somebody in this room say that I did a good job. Shut up! Shut the hell up! I'm glad he's gone. Go away. Jason, anytime there's criticism of Freeman, always bring up Kelly, who's long gone, right? He is not a random going to the Kelly well to discuss this stuff. Is not me grasping at a random thing that supports my argument. It's totally connected to this entire situation in every way. He's the last guy, so that's what the new guy's going to be compared to. Also, a lot of what the last guy did influences what was going to happen with the new guy's beginning because the players the old guy had to work with. It's connected. I don't bring up Kelly randomly. It's because he's intimately connected to the situation. This daylight savings Monday is going to be the end of me. It's going to be the end of me. Man. 43-3 in his final 4 regular seasons. Nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. Nothing. Not a major bowl win, nothing. There's no meat on the bone. It just looks pretty for an argument, but there's no meat on the bone. Andrew, you just said you didn't want to. You just said, you take whatever. You take the Camping World Bowl and I'll take Final Fours or whatever. But you're playing both ends of this, Andrew. Because you're saying it's, where's the high level stuff? Well, 43-3 in his last 4 regular seasons got you no high level stuff either. It got you, so that either matters or it doesn't. 43-3 got you nothing. And you're talking about high level standards at Notre Dame, bragging about 43-3 that resulted in no trophies anybody cares about at all. Is that a big victory? Jason, we hit a plateau. Everybody felt it. Everyone felt it. And if you didn't, you weren't paying attention. Everyone felt the plateau, including Kelly. Kelly knew it better than anybody. You know why? Kelly created the plateau. Kelly created his own plateau by not evolving and refusing to work. Oh, man. I'm struggling. 385. Johnny, we good? Don't let the blood pressure rise. All right. 385. I'm coming right to you. This one got off the beaten track. All right, we're going to go to Tom Frawley, our sponsor. When we come back, I'm going to go to the calls, and then we'll see how much more we have after that. I might just save my other topic for Wednesday because this took a life of its own. And I don't want to yell on a Monday. Everybody's tired. They all lost an hour, and here I am yelling about Kelly. I want to be done with Kelly. I want Freeman to win something Kelly never could so we can put it all to bed. I hate this Freeman-Kelly thing because there's no good way to compare them right now. There's no fair, good way to compare them right now. That's the issue I have. All right, I need to take a drink and calm my blood pressure. I'll be back in a minute. In today's digital age, seamless and secure transactions aren't just a luxury. They're an absolute necessity. That's where Paisley comes in, completely revolutionizing the way businesses handle payments. Whether you're a startup or an established large enterprise, Paisley's cutting-edge payment solutions are designed to propel your business forward. Imagine transactions so smooth your customers barely have to lift a finger. With Paisley, that is your new reality. Our platform offers an array of features from instant processing to ironclad security. ensuring every transaction is not just a transaction, but rather a step towards building long-lasting customer loyalty. Why choose Paisley? We're not just another payment processor. We are your partner in growth, dedicated to providing personalized service that understands and meets your unique business needs. The platform's intuitive, our fees are transparent, and the support team is unmatched and unrivaled. So to all the entrepreneurs, innovators, and dreamers out there looking to elevate their business's payment game, Paisley is the answer. We're more than a platform. We are a movement towards a frictionless financial future. Ready to join us? Visit paisley.com to learn more or contact Always Irish famous caller Tom Frawley, Chicago's very own, for a personalized Paisley consultation. You can reach Tom at 773-332-7742 or tom@paisleypartners.com, and be sure to mention Always Irish sent you. All right, we're back. Maybe I could calm down. I wanted to mention something before we get into the calls. We got a couple now. I'm coming out with a spring line for the Shopify store with some new additions. You know, you got to reinvent yourself. So my wheels spin, and I have a couple ideas there. Check this out. Anybody want to get a no wine and cheese allowed? No, well, I'm wearing this to Notre Dame to prove my point. No wine and cheesers allowed. Get out. No wine and cheesers allowed. Get out. Get out. We're over it. You couldn't see that good with the, there you go. I just think it's funny. I'm going to walk around. I don't care. No one else is going to buy this shirt, and I don't care. I printed it off so I can make it to prove my point. No wine and cheese. No wine and cheese. We need people that want to be loud and get proud. Oh, man. Oh, 385, what's going on? 816, I saw you dropping on and off. Give me a call back. 385, make me feel better about my blood pressure.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, man. Good hearing from you. I haven't called for a little while, but I've been listening to everything. And yeah, man, no wine and cheese. There's only blue collar guys, man. No yuppies. That's what you're really saying. No yuppies.
Yeah. But, you're right, man. I want I want some loud people, man.
Okay. Let me tell you something. A few weeks ago, and you talked about the Freeman, and I had been listening to things, and last time I commented, like, yeah, he's right, man. Like, everybody comes on, they talk about Harmon, they talk about what happened last year, they talk about things. Hey, man, those things are done. You know what I mean? They're done, you know, and so we can keep talking about them, or we can really all just move forward together and stay positive. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you some examples. But real quick, I went to Miami. I took my daughter on a birthday trip to Miami last week, and it was beautiful, man. Beautiful weather. Like, and hey, I love the Mountain West. I love the mountains. I love our lakes. I love hiking. And this isn't about me. But the reason I say that is, man, you listen to how Freeman's out there hustling, you know, and recruiting and the relationships he's building. And the reason I say that, man, like, whatever he's doing to have kids come, yeah, granted, it's Notre Dame, it's the brand, it's where football was born. And college football is a debt of gratitude with the forward pass, with us traveling across the country to play anybody. They do. But to get a kid in this day and age to be like, hey, I'm going to Notre Dame rather than Miami, that says a lot, man. You know what I mean? Because Miami was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just using that as an example in his work ethic. I seen an interview with Michael Mayer saying, you know, I love BK, but Coach Freeman was there all summer with us, man. He goes, we really didn't see Coach BK in the summer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, it's tough, dude. It's really, I struggle with comparing Freeman and Kelly so hard because you have all that experience difference, and I don't know how to account for that. I want to be fair, but I also don't want to like sell anybody short. I really struggle with how to break that part down. how to fairly compare Freeman to Kelly when there's a 40-year difference in experience. But I also understand the argument of too bad. You're now the coach in Notre Dame. You got to win. I understand that too, but it's just, I'm struggling to find the fairest way to gauge this situation.
No, and that's true. And you look at the interview that you and Mike Goolsby were talking about, the CEOs, the small podcast, and he admits it right there. He says, the first game I coached, he admits it, that his inexperience is what lost that game against Oklahoma State. He admitted it, and my point to this is, do we really want to end up like a USC where they got rid of Kiffin too early? And now look what he's doing. Do we want, like Sarkisian, they got rid of him. Look what he's doing at Texas. Because Freeman, the kids like him. They're attracted to him. Parents like him. If we get rid of him, because it is Notre Dame, are we going to be down the road and be like, hey, man, he just replaced so-and-so at Michigan or at Ohio State or at Florida, and now, he won a national title there. Is that where we want to be without really giving a fair shot? Which I agree with you. Hey, sorry, man, it's Notre Dame. I agree, but I think, and then, we can move forward if you want to with a different topic. But I think as far as the recruiting aspect, the work ethic aspect, the fact that he has taken accountability of that he's messed up. And then one thing that's big with me, John, because, and I know last time, and I won't repeat it because I know YouTube will cut you. I'm a straight 100% conservative. I don't budge on those values. I'm not going to get political, okay? But I'm just letting you know. The fact that he's creating not just better athletes, but better men in this crazy world, that to me is very important as a Notre Dame Irish fan. You know what I mean? Because I see the players that go on and win NFL, and I listen to the podcasts and I watch all the players and how they go on to these Notre Dame and how they've been successful. To me, that's important. But I know we're talking Notre Dame football, and I think sometimes fans, they really just need to be like, hey, take a step back and, do you really want the next mugshot, Heisman Trophy winner, or do we want to just give this dude some time? We've given him what he needs, and now let's see if it's going to happen. Let's see if the ingredients are going to mix the soup correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's, and I don't know. I hate having to have this conversation, man. I really do. Because, dude, no matter what I say, I get nailed. It's either I didn't appreciate anything Kelly did, or I'm letting Freeman skate and I'm never holding him accountable. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like Freeman's trying to evolve the program. And I never felt that with Kelly. Freeman's trying to evolve the program, always looking for the next way to do things. And I didn't see that with Kelly. And that effort level matters to me. And it's making me hopeful that even if it's not the final product now, if you're building it that way, we could reach higher levels than we did before. Does that make any sense? Or am I in my own dumb brain?
No, man, that makes perfect sense. But that's the thing is, those that, and granted to him, and I'm not sticking up for him by any means. He's a grown man. He can stick up for himself. He's a head coach to Notre Dame. But the thing is, he kind of got the end of the stick where we are on a 30-something year drought. We are a 30-something year drought. His coordinator left, and he had to do with what he did with what he did, and I'm not going to bring this up because I said it's over. Sam wasn't what we hoped for, but, we got Dan Brock, got Golden assigned. We're getting these recruits. He's working his ass off. And I just think there's too much speculation, beginning of the year without, really anything, taking off. We know we got to go into Texas A&M. We know we got to go into, SC, and we know we got a tough schedule in front of us. Let's focus on that. And I think he'll make the proper adjustments. And if you listen to his press conferences, I don't think he's ever not say, I got to not take accountability as coaches. He says that. Us as coaches have to take accountability for us not coaching them up. I don't know what more else people want. I don't know if you and I are watching different press conferences, but that's what I've heard. That's what I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, man. And the other thing too, let me ask you this. I'm open to this too. I am just attracted to Freeman's personality and the way that he kind of communicates way more than Kelly. And I know that's a part that bothers people because I prefer Freeman's style of communication and delivery to Kelly's demeaning, talking down to you condescending, I have all the answers, you're an idiot. I much prefer one than the other. And then that sets the thing that, like, I'm just a Freeman guy and I'm never going to need more from him. And everything he does is just fine. And we can have 10 guys on the field and John doesn't care because he likes the way Freeman talks. That's not it. He's got to get better. I'm saying he's got to get better. He does. He does.
No, you know, the truth be told, you know, a lot of our fan base, you know, me and you are almost the same age. And I used to coach the kids like, hey, the world's not nice, so I'm not going to sit here and be nice to you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to coach you up like what I used to coach. And I get that, but, you know, for me, what I didn't like so much about Brian Kelly, and I'll get backlash to it. Like, I mean, and I've told you this when I first called the show. I'm a Tommy Rees fan. Why? Call me crazy. I like how Tommy Rees wasn't selfish. He lost his job twice, and he didn't leave. To me, that's important. Hold on, John. John, are you there? Sorry.
Yep. Nope, I got you.
To me, that was important. To me, that's important, you know. And I see he lost his job twice, you know, to Golson and I think to Zaire. I think it wasn't. And I liked, yeah, he wasn't nowhere near athletic or the quarterback, but I liked Tommy Rees for that. I liked that he stood there and competed, that he loved Notre Dame just as much as I did. And I didn't like to see how Brian Kelly used to rip the shit out of him, man. And I'm like, dude, that dude, like, sorry, dude, but that's your leader. He can't go and, rattled. But that's the reason why I really didn't like BK. I do agree with you as far as like he kept his own plateau, you know, and he said it for himself, and he never won the big game or this and that. But I'll give it to whoever they targeted. They targeted some good players in the NFL, you know, that are succeeding now, that have won some few Super Bowls, and I'll give him that, you know. But I agree with you as far as Freeman. He's the face of the future, especially in this new college football era we're living in. You know what I mean? So,
what do you think?
I'm with you on
here's
that,
a good question. Here's a really good question.
Go ahead.
What do you think you would need to get out of Notre Dame and Freeman this year to get people that aren't believing in Freeman or on that bus to jump along? Like, what result would it take to have people go, man, that was a good year. Notre Dame does look different. Is it 11-1 and win a playoff game? Like, what's it going to take for people that are unsure to start to want to buy into Freeman a little more? What do you think that needs to be this year?
What I honestly think it needs to be, John, I don't even think it's an 11-1 or 10-2 playoff game. I think it's that playoff game. If we get 10-2, 11-1, we're getting in. We're Notre Dame. We're the biggest brand in college football, regardless of what stupid-ass Stephen A. Jackson says. He's got to win that game, though. He's got to win that playoff game, because that will get over the hump that they haven't won a big game in 30-something years since Lou Holtz is, what was it, against in 93, the Orange Bowl, I think it was. I can't remember. But he has to win that game. For me, it's not so much finishing undefeated or 11-1 or 10-2. It's that game. It's that playoff game. If they go, say they have to go play Ole Miss, and they can beat Ole Miss in the bowl, because the SEC is going to rig it to have 2, 3, 4 teams in the playoff. We already know that. But they have to win that playoff game. That is the key. Win that playoff game and lose the next week, okay. But if they win that one, to me, that's the key. To me, that's the key where spectators and speculators and critics are going to be like, you know what? Hey, we won that game. We went on. We're going to move forward now. I think so. That's my opinion personally.
Yeah, it's these are kind of weird times, man. It's a little weird being in the middle here, where I'm asked to compare what I think are apples and oranges, and the time periods are not the same. You're judging one guy after a huge body of work and one guy just starting his body of work, but we also need to have stable standards at Notre Dame. It can't just go up and down depending on the coach. I understand. I think there's good points to be had in all of these. Like a lot of these chats, even if I disagree with them, if I look at it that way, I could see some valid points. There's a lot of nuance here nobody wants to swim in.
No, exactly. You know, and granted, I mean, Urban Meyer, well, we talked about how Kelly lost at first, and I told you about USC getting rid of Lane Kiffin and Sarkisian, right, and those coaches. But, I mean, not everybody's Urban Meyer where they just get to a program and just win right away, man. I mean, he didn't even do it at Florida, right? I mean, the first 2-3 years at Florida, he was on the hot seat. And, I mean, but let's also look at his track record off the field with his players and his coaches. You know, I'm not judging because, you know, I'm no angel, but I mean, honestly, like, I just think, you know, like I said, let this year go. Let us get past this regular season.
Texas A&M. Dude, that's what it's going to be, man. You know that, right? It's Texas A&M. That's going to be the narrative for 2024 is going to be the result of that game. Like, I just think it's all pointing to that moment where that is going to be the ultimate arbiter. And there's a lot weighing on that Texas A&M game. You can lose it and still make the playoff, but it doesn't matter. There's still a lot perceptually riding on that week. It's just one of those moments Notre Dame finds itself in again. It's one of those flashpoint moments that is going to have people buying in or ready to check out week one. That's what it's going to be.
So, and you know what? That's a good point. It is a good point. I was about to say that I know that a lot of people are all Texas A&M being an SEC country and this and that, but I mean, one of your callers a few weeks ago said, "Hey, man, Texas A&M is the bottom of the barrel SEC team." I mean, realistically, they never really got over the hump of being a Big 12 team. Let's be 100% honest. They had maybe 2 good seasons at 10-3 as well. It produced a Heisman Trophy, you know, winner that, but he got the Heisman because he beat Alabama. I mean, but let's not forget that those other 11 men on the or 10 men on the field with him as well, and then on the other side of the you got to stop Alabama with their defense. But I guess just because it's an SEC team, people are like, "Oh, you know, it's an SEC team," and I agree with you, John. It's week 1. It's Mike Denbrock. Denbrock's a defender, the minded genius. You know what I mean? But I just hope that you know, if we do win like that, that I agree with you that people are like, "All right, man, we went in the Texas A&M SEC team." And, you know, we're on board. You know, personally, I could care less about the SEC. Half of their teams are garbage. They play 2 junior high teams a season. You know, they do it right before rivalry week. You know, and this is what I want to touch base on before mentioning that too. I want to see how the Big Ten now is going to do now when they have to fly out west and they got to fly back and forth. Because let me tell you, like I said to you, when I fly to South Bend, I got to go to Dallas-Fort Worth, and then I got to go to Indiana, man, and that's exhausting for me. Yeah. I want to see how these teams fare off now. These Big Ten teams that are going to have to fly out west now, the way Notre Dame does. You know what I mean? So, you know, people got to give more credit to this dude, and you made a good point as far as Texas A&M, but like honestly, Johnny, my opinion, the SEC is garbage. They have 6 teams, maybe 4 teams that are good. They play 2 junior high teams, and they know how to schedule it correctly to where their heavy hitters are not being, you know, using their big studs to ruin their shot into the national title. So, but you know, with that being said, Johnny, try not to let them rile up your blood pressure too much, buddy. You know what I'm saying? It's spring.
Yeah, you know me, man. I just take it easy. Nothing ever gets to me. I just go with the flow, you know, man. I just take it easy on a Monday. Nothing bothers me.
Hey, buddy, let me tell you this, man. It's spring ball. You know, things are rolling. You know, after that, the summer will come, and we'll really get into it. Hey, man, the Lady Irish just won the conference tournament, man, in a miraculous win with only 6 girls, man. You know, so I know that Freeman and that monster of a staff that he has are gonna have those kids ready. The only thing that worries me, like how you said, is offensive line. But I'm not, you know, I'm pretty sure his staff, they're gonna do what they need to make sure we go good. But I'm not gonna take up too much of your time, man. Let the other caller say something. But Johnny, You know, I mean, onward Notre Dame, go Irish. It's a Monday, baby. You know, a lot of weeks left. Don't have a stroke before the Friday.
Yeah, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate the call and the energy on a Monday, man. God bless you. Have a good week, brother.
You too, buddy. We'll see you.
Take care. Dude's energy. I've never talked to that guy where he isn't all worked up and ready to go. Oh man. I see talking about Louisville and whether that was a big game or whatever last year. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. How do you separate when you say a big game? To me, that doesn't require both teams be like elite or highly ranked or whatever. For something to be a big game, that's not a requirement to me. For instance, if you're undefeated running through the year and you're into November and you're undefeated, I don't care if you're playing 4-loss teams, 5-loss teams. Every one of those games is a big game because it matters nationally and you have big things on the line. I don't count a big game that both teams got to be good to make it a big game. It matters what it means in the moment you're in. Do you follow me? Does that make sense? Like a great example. I don't know why this is in my brain. 2012 senior day against Wake Forest. So at home, senior day, the last game of the year, Notre Dame was 11-0 or 10-0. And they had to beat Wake to get to 11-0 before going to USC to get to 12-0. Huge game. And it wasn't, we beat them 38-0. It wasn't a huge game because Wake was coming to town. It was a big game because what happened in Notre Dame's game mattered nationally. If Notre Dame were to lose that game, it shifts everything. So when you're talking about a big game, that doesn't require to me that both teams are in the hunt for something. It could be a big game if it's only from our end. If it's a game where you need it to keep it going. Man. Tough crowd on a Monday, man. I think everybody's mad because they lost an hour of sleep. Man. Jeez. 618, what's going on? Happy Monday.
Hello?
What's up?
Hey, what's up, John?
Oh, man. These people got me worked up, dude. People got me worked up on a Monday. Talk me off the ledge, man.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to get down there, man. I want to see the offensive line and want to see this battle for the backup quarterback, man, because, man, I'm hearing that Minchie looking really, really good. And, you know, we'll see, man. I want to see it with my own eyes. Minchie is, like I told you before, Minchie is the guy that I'm rooting for. I'm hearing that CJ Carr is getting the Minchie treatment this year, so that's good. You know what I'm saying? You're not putting him in the mix early on, but, you know.
Hey, listen,
see,
my partner on Patreon, Mike Goolsby, he keeps saying John Minchie, he's the one everybody's sleeping on, and they shouldn't. That's his guy he's looking for, that he wants to take a big jump. And he's like, everybody wants to forget about him. And he's a quiet guy, unassuming, just puts in his work. And is he going to fall through the cracks? I don't know.
Yeah, I was pulling for him last year, man, you know, but I guess, you know what I'm saying, he had to take his, you know, they took their time with him. And I'm hearing that I heard last spring he had the best balls. I'm hearing this spring he got the best balls. You know, him, and I'm hearing Carr ain't too far behind him, but I'm thinking they're going to take it slow with Carr as well this year.
Yeah. Isn't that going to be the plan? If he's healthy, it's going to be Riley Leonard. Then you're going to have CJ Carr redshirt. And then you have that middle battle to determine backup. That's exactly how I'm seeing this. I'm not seeing this any other way than that. You have one guy on one end that's the presumed starter if he's healthy, no matter what the coaches say. The other guy's going to redshirt. And I want to see between Kenny and Stevie, I want to see who wins that battle.
Well, if they really give it a real battle, man, Minchie could do what Mike Denbrock want him to do. He could throw the deep ball, man. And, you know, I'm sorry, man. I mean, I like Angeli. I pulled for him a couple years ago, but man, you're not beating out Minchie if it's a true battle for the backup.
And you know what, man? What a good problem to have. I want all of those guys to look as good as possible. And I want to hear there's all these battles. Like I would rather have more than less and let it all sort itself out. Did you see Drew Pine? He's going to play football again.
Man, he's not going to ever see the field at Missouri.
I know. Dude, but it does make you think about it, man. Anybody over here defending Kelly and whatever they were going to do, look at the last couple of quarterbacks that group had. They're not even playing football. Buckner's not even playing football. Drew Pine wasn't even playing football. We're defending people that recruited people that can't even play in the sport to be our quarterback.
What is he? What is he going to Mizzou to be, a walk-on?
I think he's the backup. I think they wanted a backup, and I could see him serving that role. I don't think this is for a starting deal. I think he knows it's to be a reliable backup if you need to. You know what I mean?
And I don't think after this kid is a senior, a fifth-year senior, I don't think he'll ever see the field after this kid leaves.
Dude, somebody just wrote, John, let's not talk about that right now. The last quarterback Kelly brought in is the Heisman winner. Number one, not at Notre Dame. That's kind of a big deal when I'm talking about what happens at Notre Dame. It doesn't do me. I'm not comparing what Kelly does at LSU when reading and writing are optional and you write a check and get whoever you want. I'm talking about what goes on at Notre Dame. It doesn't matter to me what he did, how he got that guy at LSU. Sorry, go ahead.
And that kid, and let's be honest, man, Daniel should have never won. He shouldn't have won the Heisman last year. Because he was at an SEC school is the only reason why he won the Heisman.
Man, I'm telling you, that kid was good though, but he did a lot of it off.
Yeah, he was good, but I always thought Penix was better. Penix had a better season. Team had a better record.
So
they both had great wide receivers.
So then you think that's SEC? That you think there's a little SEC spotlight there?
Yeah, it was SEC spotlight. He lost. He looked it terrible against the best. The best teams that he played against, well, he played great against Alabama, but one quarterback really didn't play great against Alabama last year. But he didn't look good against Florida State. First game, granted it was the first game of the season, he still didn't look good against Florida State. No, everybody was talking about, well, they should go to the backup when they played Florida State.
Yeah. Yep. I wonder where he's going to get drafted. I don't know where he's going
to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting what's going to happen with that and where he goes. And I think in the right system that builds out an offense to accentuate his strengths would be really good. It'd be good for him, but you got to have that structure. So I don't know, man. This is just such a big moment and a big year for Notre Dame and for Marcus Freeman and everybody, man. It's all lining up to be something big, man.
We got the best 1-2 punch for coordinators with the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Man, if we don't go undefeated, if we don't go at least 11-1, man, I don't know what to say, man. And then I'm like, man, maybe it's time to start looking at Marcus like this wasn't for him. But, man, I believe in Marcus, man. I've been believing in Marcus. I don't care. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon unless we go like 0-12.
I don't think that's in the cards. Dude, but, like, is 10-2 going to be good enough? What if you make the playoff, but you're 10-2?
I think it'll get you in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, like I wonder, like people, I don't think people are going to be mad with 2 losses if you're still in the tournament, right? Like, again, this is all new territory. I don't even know how to look at it.
It all depends on who you lose to. It all depends on who you lose to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you go out and and do a dud against Stanford, yes, the people gonna be pissed. But I think the days are long gone, man. You know, I don't think Texas A&M that good of a team, man. They trying to get all these recruits in, and the recruits like, oh no, I'm not dealing with that. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, I really think, man, we probably got the probably the best man, at least a top 5 running back room. We got one of the top 5 running back rooms in the country. And that's a great, and you know, when they talking about Payne, when I'm seeing articles that Payne, you know, a guy was saying something about Payne should transfer because there's probably no way he probably gonna see the field that much this year. You know, and that's a good problem. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got Kedron Young. You know, this running back room is nasty.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You could get follow me here. We all respect Estime. We love him running over people. I think you're going to get more big flip the field splash plays out of this group because they're all faster. So I think if you could find these guys some little holes, they're going to be breaking touchdown runs, not 30-yard gains. So I miss giving up the durability and the run over people of Estime too. But I think you're going to see when something does break, it's going to be a bigger break now. That's what I predict.
Long as Denbrock is here at Notre Dame, man. Estimate that's the last of his kind that we'll see at Notre Dame.
Yeah, you think they're going to get into more shifty speed and that'll be the future? I mean, you could still use one of those guys as a mix-up, right?
I think what's the kid name? The kid from Texas, Kedron Young. I think Kedron Young gonna be that type of running back, but he's gonna be a faster version.
Yeah.
Of what Estime is, and you know, with you know, I say I'm from the Houston area, and I know that area is close between where he from is like close between San Antonio and Austin. I hear a lot of people that say that, man, he even shifty. So, you know,
yeah,
we'll see, man.
And then let me ask this. Let's wrap up with this on a Monday. And this was my main point of the day, but I never got to because I started yelling about everything else. As we get further into camp, what do you want to start hearing coming out of there? The reports you talk about hearing and reading. What would make you feel good? What do you want to hear coming out? Is it? Yeah, that's right on my list too. Yeah,
stay looking good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's going to be a battle for that right tackle. You know, I would like to see that freshman come in and take over as the right tackle, man. I mean, you have him and Jagasaw as a 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
for at least the next year or two. Well, the next 2 years, man, it might be better than, you know, Fisher and Alt over a 2-year span.
Yeah, that was top of my list too. Hearing, you know, things like, you know, the wide receivers are becoming more consistent with a rotation and guys that are playing consistently, like that would be something. So that's something we'll get further into, but I'm just looking at that for whatever comes next. But dude,
as far as wide receivers go, I'm hearing that like Greathouse is the one that's stepping up as the leader. And I'm so happy that he didn't leave, man, because that's the one that I was really scared of that might leave, because Greathouse could do a lot. Man, he's the most versatile receiver that we got. Man, he could go, he could play slot, he could play outside, man. You know, nothing. I mean, no disrespect to Rico, but Rico wasn't fast, man. Rico, some of him, you know, sometimes I see Rico and it look like he's running in slow motion. So,
yeah. So I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting. It would just be nice if somehow this team can get over the hump in a way where more people are willing to believe, but you can't force that. The only way to get more belief is to go win on the field. And I totally understand that. But I wish Notre Dame would do that so that all these fans that want to buy in, but they're just, I want to give them a reason to, but it's got to be on the field. And this is a big year to be able to earn that credibility. So we're looking at a big year, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely, man. I'm hoping that this season, man. I can't. I think BSPN probably a shut down Sports Center at night if Notre Dame win a national championship.
I'm sorry, we have no signal. Yeah, we lost our signal. We have no highlights from this game. Yeah. Let's cut to an interview of Brian Kelly and Feinbaum instead. Yeah, I could see that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, man. Man, you know what, man? I think that the reason why, man, ESPN or they don't care for Notre Dame because they can't get that TV contract, the entire TV contract, which I think will be better for Notre Dame to get away from NBC and go to somewhere like ESPN because when Notre Dame is winning, college football is better.
Yeah, for us.
I hate to say it.
For who? For me and you, yeah.
I think for the whole entire when the three schools when they're winning is USC, Notre Dame, and Miami. When they're winning, is better for college football.
Yeah. It depends who you ask, but yeah, generally speaking. So I don't know, man. We need to have a big year. This all needs to change. I'm ready for it. I'm sick of the narrative. I'm sick of having to defend things. It would be nice if Notre Dame did something that warranted people believing and buying in. We have a fan base that's just they have the scar tissue so thick. Somebody got to do something in Notre Dame to change this all. Make people believe it. You got to see it to believe it, though. I get it. Tough place to be where we're at.
And I would listen to Singers, man, and the one guy with Singer was making Notre Dame is starting to recruit offensive linemen that can pass block. Not just offensive linemen that bully you and run you over. They can run block. They recruit linemen that can pass block. And that's a plus, man. That's a real plus.
Yeah.
Because if this is what Denbrock want to turn it into, man, we might be dangerous. If we could just pass the ball, man.
Imagine that. It's a wild concept.
2,800 yards pass.
It's a wild concept to be able to throw the ball down the field regularly. I know it's crazy, but maybe we could do it.
That's what's going to hurt. And I think that's what's going to hurt Angeli because I mean, even in the bowl game, he wasn't trying to throw it down the field, and Denbrock want to push it down the field. He's looking for the short dump off passes, man. Denbrock ain't looking for that.
Yeah. Oh,
Denbrock
man.
wants you to push it down the field.
Oh, man. So there's a lot to look at this spring. There's going to be a lot to look at this year, and I hope to see you at the Blue and Gold game, my friend.
Yes, you will.
Beautiful. Have a good one. Thanks for starting off the week here. Take care.
All right.
Man, he's always got something for me. My old reliable callers here. So maybe that's my conclusion after a difficult discussion this morning. I understand the anxiety. I understand the frustration. I understand the lack of patience. I share all those features with you guys. It's on Notre Dame to undo 3 decades of misery. That's what this all comes down to. It is on Notre Dame. Some Notre Dame team, some Notre Dame coach has got to change the narrative. This whole discussion we've had this morning, this does not happen overnight. Something like this, these issues we're discussing don't just pop out of the ground overnight. It takes 30 years of water in that seed to get to a point where the default is on the negative of something bad happening or us not being good enough and there's no hope or whatever. That just doesn't sprout out overnight, man. That's 30 years of watering that failure plant. And now it's about changing it. I understand all that scar tissue and frustration. I have it too. Something's got to change it. Notre Dame's been going down this path for so long. Something's got to change it. All right, folks. That's going to be it. I'm just going to save my main topic for Wednesday, unless other news comes out, because we had enough meat on the bone to cover. We didn't even get there. Also, I forgot to mention this in the beginning. Great win by the ladies, ACC champs. Gritty, grindy, tough game. One beautiful, whatever. Good job. You got it done. And it's so great to see Notre Dame in these conferences and anything winning it. You know, it makes them mad. You know what I mean? Like, because they're full-time in ladies basketball. So then, you know, it's got to make ACC conference people mad that Notre Dame wins it. Like, I love that. So good job by them on that. Thank you. Good show, John. You got me all worked up. I mean, I got worked up too, man. I don't know. It's all so frustrating. I don't blame people for wanting more and being, I just don't. I don't blame people for being frustrated. Also, thank you to everybody that called, all your chats, all the donations. Donnie, $100 holler, man, it goes a long way. The way the phone lines work is you got to pay a certain amount per month, keep the line active under your name. And then it's literally a certain amount per minute that I'm taking the calls. And it drains the money. And then when it gets low, I have it set to autofill, charge my credit card again to put more time on. And so things like this really do add up and they really do help. So Donnie and everybody else who pitched in, I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Roger, thanks, man. Good to see you around. You're always around, Roger. And every time I go check out another guy doing this that I like, that you're always there too, man. You must have similar taste because you're in that same circle I'm in. So thank you, guys. And we'll have some stuff to go over. I'll have an episode tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Take care. Good show.